Perfect.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, the cameras are started. I will call this meeting of the Public Health and Safety Committee to order at 11:17. Roll call, please.
We have Lubes absent with notice, as well as Gingell, Gershenson. Here. Jackson,
Here.
McGilvray, and Joliet are absent with notice. Nelson,
Here.
Cavell.
Here.
Howell.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Now we'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we move to the fourth item, which is the approval of minutes. Are there any corrections or changes to the minutes of the previous meeting?
You're a good guy.
Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Nelson, second by Cavell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Now we move to item 5, the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes or corrections to the agenda? Seeing none, we need a motion to approve the agenda. Moved by Nelson, second by Gershenson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Now we'll move to public comment. There's a 3-minute max per speaker and related only to the items on the agenda. Do I have anyone here for public comment? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Now we will move to communications. We need a motion to receive and file the communications, items A through G. Moved by Gershon, seconded by Nelson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Now we will get to the agenda. First item on the agenda is public service recommendations. Item A, which is public service medical examiner joint operating agreement between Oakland County and Macomb County for medical examiner's office. It's an interlock agreement and our presenter is Cass Maraca.
Yes,
Did I say that right?
Myarka. Myarka.
Myarka, I was close, sorry about that,
That's
sir. I will need a motion. Motion by Gershenson, moved by Nelson. And now I will open it up for discussion, right?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. There, I have my wonderful staff
You're
here.
You're doing great.
Okay, now turn it over to you, sir.
Macomb County previously contracted with the Spitz Group to handle their autopsies. The Spitz Group has resigned and submitted their resignation for that contract. Macomb County has reached out to the Oakland County Medical Examiner's Office and asked us to assume the duties of medical examiner while they restructure their office and try to locate a new chief medical examiner and 2 deputy forensic pathologists at their office. So we entered into the local agreement, worked through all of that, and then we're here to present that to the board. And we put it in for a year. However, they're hoping that they can have something accomplished within 90 days. We'll see.
Okay, does that conclude your presentation,
Yes,
sir?
it does.
Okay, commissioners, do we have any questions for our guest here? Yes, Cavell.
Thank you, Chair. The Schedule A, I don't know if I fully understand the cost breakdown. Autopsies will be roughly $586,000 because that's the cost expected from Macomb County autopsies that they will pay us.
That's correct. So right now they're averaging if I'll do a monthly average, probably be easier. They average 36 full autopsies, which according to the schedule that we put together, that's $2,100 per autopsy. External examination or inspection, as we refer to it, they average about 15. And then a partial where it's cranial only, they average about 3 a month. So when we break that all down and based upon the fee schedule, we estimate the monthly revenues to be about $97,650. And then we also have requested $40,000 into the professional services contract. We want to subcontract another doctor to assist us with the extra workload while they search for another doctor.
And Macomb County is covering all of that, you're saying?
It would be all covered and within the cost of the autopsies and all of that would be collected through that.
And the reason for this being a 1-year contract is?
We thought we'd put it out for 1 year. We know how difficult it is. We've had a difficult time locating a forensic pathologist. It took us a year and a half, and we finally just now have an offer out to one. So we know how difficult it is to find board certified forensic pathologists. So we figured we might as well put it in for a year contract with the hopes that they'll find something sooner.
Okay. So the expectation is that Macomb will handle this themselves. We're not starting something that'll end up being a 20-year relationship.
We hope not.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other further questions? Yes, Jackson.
Just, and I'm sure that this has already been investigated, but this will not overburden our medical examiner at all.
No, we broke down all the numbers from what they provided for the last 2 years and all the workload that we have. And that's why we will enter a professional services contract with another doctor, just to give us a little bit of a leeway. And now that we have an offer out and then we believe the offer's been accepted, that'll give us our 5th doctor, so we believe that we can manage the workload.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, please prompt the vote.
You have 5 yeas, 0 nays?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now we move to item B, under public service recommendations, community corrections, acceptance from the U.S. Department of Justice for the fiscal year 2023 Edward Bryan Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program. Need a motion? Nelson, moved by Cavell. Turn it over to our presenter, Eric Schmidt. Correct?
It is.
All right,
Good morning.
thank you. Good morning.
So before you is a motion to approve the FY23, essentially the JAG grant for program funding of $88,114, which would begin a few days ago, October 1, 2023 through September 30th of 2026. You have a Schedule A assigned there. This would award money and funding to both Community Corrections and the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office would be allocated $17,623, which would be used to purchase one Synology rack mount storage unit, as well as 45 Seagate Exos hard drives. And this is to help with electronic evidence and storage of such. And Community Corrections would be working with the Center for Employment Opportunities to assist and offset costs associated with transition work crews in the community. And to do that, the award amount would be $70,491, again, over the 3-year period. So without any other questions, or I'm open to questions, of course, that's my presentation.
Thank you. Commissioners, we have questions? Hearing none, please prompt the vote.
You have 5 yeas, 0 nays?
Thank you. Now we move to circuit court recommendations. Item A. Friend of the court, acceptance from the State Court Administrative Office for the fiscal year 2024 Access and Visitation Program. Motion by Nelson, seconded by Gershenson. I will turn it over to Suzanne Hollier.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Hmm.
Hollier, okay.
Happy to be here.
All right.
I'm the friend of the court director, and this grant is pass-through money that comes from the federal government to the state court administrative office and then down to the counties, and it's to promote what the federal government calls visitation. Michigan, since about 1996, has referred to this as parenting time because we don't believe in Michigan that parents visit their children. We believe they spend time with them and that the term parenting time is more respectful. Nevertheless, the rest of the country is not caught up to Michigan yet. So this grant is called Access and Visitation. And in Michigan, we use this entirely for supervised parenting time. Based on county caseload sizes, we're all awarded a grant to provide supervised parenting time. We contract with an agency, Impact Consulting, and they do all of our supervised parenting time, not all of our supervised parenting time in the county, but all of our funded through this grant supervised parenting time. So they serve extremely low income people. Most on their caseload earn less than $10,000 a year. And they're able to provide this service so that those parents can still see their children, whether it is mental illness or domestic violence or whatever situation causing them to have restrictions on their parenting time. Impact is able to monitor and provide reports to the court through this grant about how parenting time is going.
Okay, does that conclude your presentation?
That does.
Thank
But
you, Commissioners.
I'm available for questions.
Commissioners, any questions? Yes, Cavell.
Thank you, Chair. So, what does the $23,000 go towards? I know you said it's like towards parenting time,
Yeah.
but what do you need to spend money on for that?
They, Impact is a private company and they have to pay their monitors to monitor the parents and write the reports. And that's what it covers. It covers $40 an hour rate to monitor parenting time services, or monitor parenting time for parents. And that covers, they have their own facility. We're not part of the court. They're not part of the court. Yeah.
Is Impact Consulting a for-profit or a nonprofit?
They're a private company, LLC. They're not a nonprofit. They're not a 501c3. I will tell you, though, that this company has, this money runs out in the middle of the, or sometimes near the end of the fiscal year. And quite often, other counties won't spend the money and we're able to, they'll contact us because they know we always can. And in working with Impact over the years, they continue to provide services for free to the people that are on the grant when the money runs out. So we try to go scoop up whatever money is not used by the other counties so that they can recover that, because we want to continue to work with them. But they don't want parents to, just because our funding ran out, not see their kids like August, September, end of the fiscal year. So they're not a nonprofit, but in some ways they kind of act like a nonprofit by continuing to provide services even when the funding runs out. They don't tell people, oh, you have to now pay $40 out of your SSI to see your kid. They just continue to provide the service.
So how many people then do they get to help for, I mean, right, minus their, let's say, 10% admin?
I mean, you
20
could just,
grand.
I don't have my phone handy, but if you did 23,000 divided by 40, that would tell you how many hours of service they're providing. And some of their caseload, they might come weekly, some of them might come every other week and spend an hour, but it's generally like an hour period of time. And they have, I've toured their facility, they have games and TVs and all kinds of toys for, age-appropriate interactions with the kids.
How many, so it's 575 hours, so like total for a year.
Right.
So how many parents are part of this program, or how many times do you get to meet with your?
It's gonna be case specific, so some might meet only for 3 months because they maybe never met their kid before, and it maybe is just like introducing for the first time a parent to a kid that the parent may have never met. So it might be that kind of interaction, or you might have someone who has a severe mental illness and that's the only way they're ever in their life gonna see their kid. So they may come all year throughout the year and see their kid every week or every other week, and that's the only way they're ever gonna see them.
So every week-ish for some amount of time, short or long?
Sometimes, and then sometimes it's forever.
Okay,
On whatever schedule the court determines. So Impact gets a court-ordered referral, and then they do an intake and determine, usually the court will say, this is a reintegration type, or reunification type parenting time, or this is until further order of the court. So then they do an intake and they figure out what's going on, and then they'll send reports back to the court. So the court knows how it's going, and the court might end it or say, okay, you're ready for unsupervised and this will be the new schedule. So that would obviously be the hope in most cases, that you could move toward that. But from working, and Impact has all types of supervised parenting time, but those that are on the grant, from talking to them, are mostly cases where it's gonna be that way because of some severe problem that it's gonna probably last a long time.
so, and last question if you don't mind. So then, and you sometimes run out of money, but then scale because other communities or other counties don't use all their money,
Yes.
which sounds even worse.
Well, some of them don't have providers, unfortunately. And we have a whole long list of people who are willing to supervise in restaurants and, you know, going to the movies or whatever. So, but these are just individuals who maybe are retired therapists, and they will say like, we'll do this, and they call me and say, I'd like to do this. So we make them do like a criminal history background check, and then we put them on a list. But Impact is the only agency right now in our community doing it.
Right, so is there a waiting list, I guess, of people trying to get on this that aren't able to be served, or you're meeting all the needs?
We're meeting the needs.
Okay,
Yeah, we're meeting the needs.
okay.
Yeah, last year I think were originally offered something lower, like, and really when you may have seen this application come out, I think it originally said 19,000, and I think last year the application was like 11. So that's the initial cut at it that SCAO takes based on caseload size. And then we apply, and then they say, okay, well now there's always gonna be more money because some of the counties don't even apply because they know there's no one in their community that's gonna be able to use this money. So that's why when the contract comes back, it's always a higher number. And then sometime in July or August, there'll be counties that thought they could use it but then couldn't, and they'll come. I think every year I've been offered additional money, and I'll reach out to Impact and say, how are we doing on the grant? And they'll say, oh, we ran out of money 2 months ago, or sometimes they'll say like, we're just about to run out of money. Like, what can you use by the end of the fiscal year? And I wanna say last year we got an additional like 9,000 at the end of the year, and they were able to. So, you know, they do the best they can to spread it out, but like I said, at the end of the year, if there's not enough money, they continue to provide the service.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
And this is the last year, I should mention, of our contract. So this board had asked me to bid out the opportunity to apply for this grant several years ago, like 10, 15 years ago. And so we have continued to do that. Every 5 years, we issue a request for proposals, and Impact's the only company that ever applies. But I'm out of years, so next year I'll be bidding out that opportunity again. So if any agencies that you know in the community are interested in offering supervised parenting time, they can apply for that, because we do a competitive bid process every time it's required by purchasing in order to apply for this grant.
Thank you, Jackson.
The unused monies, do any come from Wayne or Macomb County?
They don't share that information with me, but I do know that Wayne gets the biggest chunk of it, and there is an agency in Wayne.
Okay.
It's safe. Harbors or something like that, and I wanna say it's like in Plymouth or something like Western Wayne County. But I know Wayne does have services available. I don't know about Macomb.
Okay, I was just interested in the region. And I know that a lot of the programs, Susan, that you offer are nationally known. We do things here in Oakland County as far as parenting time and bringing families together that, you know, we're head and shoulders above the other two regional counties. Thank you.
That's it. Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, please prompt the vote.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
you have 5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you.
Thank
Now
you.
we'll move to item B, circuit court acceptance from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services for fiscal year 2024 to raise the age program. Motion by Nelson, seconded by Gershenson, and we have our presenter, Chris Bujak. I said it right?
Bujak, yes.
Okay, I was close.
You were very close.
I'll turn the floor over to you.
Hi, this is the third and final year for this grant. We call it a grant, but it's really more of a legislated monies back to the county. In 2021, the law changed so that youthful offenders age 17 at the time of their offense now come to the circuit court juvenile area instead of going necessarily to adult or going to the district court, so we can have a more unified approach. Everybody is coming here. It's actually increased the juvenile caseload about 25%, roughly. It's been steadily growing, and I think last month was 26%, that are representative of our overall cases. It is our intent probably to even this $870,000. We're hopeful we'll cover everything, but we may even come back to you with an amendment asking for more money from DHHS because we are seeing such an increase in the number of kids coming to us.
Wow, okay. Do we have?
Oh, I'm sorry, after this is the third and final year, so this money is expected to eventually be into that childcare fund budget that I bring to you every year. But I think that because it was new legislation, they were trying to figure out exactly how much it was, gonna be the impact and how they would rework it into the childcare fund. So we're still waiting for details on that.
Okay, so we'll be able to probably apply moving forward again for the same type of grant possibly?
Well, I think it'll be built into the childcare fund is
Oh,
what
got it.
DHHS is going to try to do. We just have to hope that they put enough money in there. And we have to figure out what that process is gonna look like.
Okay. So are you done with your presentation?
I am done
Okay.
unless you have any questions.
No, okay, Cavell, see your hand go up.
Thanks. So with it going into the childcare fund, is that a way to like block grant it so that maybe we don't get 870, maybe we get 850, maybe it stays the same,
Yeah.
this type of thing?
I'm hoping that they're gonna come up with a formula that is still gonna be more for these 17 and over kids, because these are the kids that really require more attention, usually intensive services. We're trying to help them before they wind up in the adult criminal system. So, I mean, this is the last chance, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, any other questions, commissioners? Hearing none, please prompt the vote.
Yes, for me, I kicked
Okay.
myself out.
Yes. Thank you.
My prompts are not
Okay.
coming up.
Right.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Now we will move to item C, Circuit Court Agreement with the Oakland County Youth Coordinating Council, and our presenter is wonderful Barbara Winter.
So
I need
unfortunately,
a motion.
Oh, thank you.
Motion by Nelson, seconded by Gershenson. Now the floor is yours.
good morning, commissioners. Unfortunately, Mrs. Mandia from Youth Assistance is in a 3-day long training. Otherwise, she would be presenting here. But just to refresh your memory, a few months ago in September, you appropriated $500,000 for programming for youth assistance. And now in front of you is the fully finalized agreement with Youth Assistance Coordinating Council. So we can release funding to them and they can continue the amazing things they did with the initial $50,000 that they received in 2021. And all money needs to be spent by the end of December of 2026. If they are not going to spend it, which I don't think so, there will be unfortunately an issue for them, they need to return it to us.
Okay, we have any questions, commissioners? Hearing none. Oh, Cavell, you vote once, twice? Once or twice?
Okay, well, just, I would just love to see, I guess whenever Liz is able to, just like what the work plan looks like, because this is, all we have is the grant agreement, which.
Yeah, so at the end of the agreement, you will see deliverables and measurables. And then there's already spell out what it will be spent, who is doing what. So with the original $50,000, they were helping to pay for utilities for the families enrolled in youth assistance program, which you all know is unique to Oakland County now. A few years ago, Indiana copied us, but it's still Oakland County that started it in Hazel Park 70 years ago. And so they're helping families with utilities, some school materials. Then there will be also programming and curriculum provided for Children's Village attendees, or I don't know if it's the proper word.
Camps, tutoring programs, rent.
Correct.
Got it,
Yes.
cool, thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome.
This is awesome.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, please prompt the vote.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
we have 5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Now we'll move to agenda item 10, which is the sheriff office recommendations. Item A, sheriff office acceptance from the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards for the Public Safety Academy Assistance Program, August 2023 Academy. Presenters is Under Sheriff Childs and Gayab. Say your last name. Pierre. Oh, I gotta remember that. I've been
Easier than it
scared.
looks.
Oh, no, that's why I always say your first name. You can't notice. Motion by Nelson, second by Jackson, and I'll turn the floor over.
Okay, good morning. So at the last couple of meetings, I brought you the application for this. So this is the acceptance from the state of Michigan MCOLS program. It's $96,000 towards recruits that are in the academy. So this amount covers 4 recruits.
Okay, got any questions? Seeing none, please prompt the vote.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
we have 5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Now we move to item B, which is interlock agreement with the Somerset Collection LP for 2023-24 law enforcement services. Need a motion? Motion by Nelson, moved by Gershenson. I'll turn the floor over.
Okay, so this is an updated agreement with the Somerset Collection for us to provide services to them on weekends and during the holidays. So if you recall, this has gone through quite a process. We brought it to you earlier in the year, and then the board revamped the agreement and also created new overtime rates for this agreement. So after the board approved of the last agreement, we sent it to Somerset, and they have asked to extend it through the end of 2024. So it will start as soon as the board approves it and then go through the end of December 2024 using the new rates approved by the board in July.
Any questions, commissioners? Yes, Cavell.
Just real quick, to what you said about the timing, I noticed the amount is gonna be much smaller. Is that because of the fiscal year difference?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, commissioners? Hearing none, please prompt the vote.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
we have 5 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you. Now we move to item C, which is acceptance from the Michigan State Police for the fiscal year 2024 Oakland County Narcotics Enforcement Team Net Brian Grant. Motion by Nelson, seconded by Cavell. Turn it over.
Okay, this is our annual acceptance for the NET grant. This year, we're getting $195,372 from the state. This continues one full-time position in the prosecuting attorney's office, 2 full-time and 1 part-time in the sheriff's office.
Any questions, commissioners? Hearing none, please prompt the vote.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
we have 5 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you. Now we move to item D, which is acceptance from the U.S. Department of Justice for the fiscal year 2023 DNA Capacity Enhancement and Backlog Reductions Program. Motion by Nelson, seconded by Gershenson. Turn it over.
Okay, this is our annual acceptance of the SEBR grant. This year it's $432,347. It continues 3 full-time lab analyst positions and then also include training costs.
Any questions, commissioners? Hearing none, please prompt the vote.
I did have a question, I just thought, sorry. But that's right. Let's see what we're doing here. Okay.
Jackson,
Yes.
5 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you. And now item E is the interlock agreement with the Pontiac School District for the 2023-24 school resource officer. Need a motion? Motion by Jackson, seconded by Gershenson.
Okay, so as you know, this is the new
I
agreement
know
with
it's my baby.
Yes, the City of Pontiac School District, and it's for 2 school resource officers. And this also uses the new rates established by the board back in July.
Yep, and my question I have is, did they opt in or try to opt out of the funding per pupil student that we added?
They asked to opt out and the board chairman said, no, we need to keep it in, so they agreed.
Oh. Okay. Interesting.
So the agreement is as is.
As is. Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any other questions? Yes, go ahead.
I just, with this and the Somerset and all, I've been thinking about this too with just in general, all of our contracts. SROs and Somerset type things also feel most like this to me. There isn't a question here, it's just like pontificating because I don't have time to think about this, but like, I'm gonna support this in all these things because this is what communities or like Somerset are, I guess in theory, asking for, or the sheriff's asking them to ask for it, but either way, it's coming before us as a request from the people of the communities or the businesses. And it just feels like we are moving in the wrong direction with all of this. And it's not any one person's fault, right? It's just like, this is the decline of our civilization, it kind of feels like, because we're putting more police in more places. And their training and purpose is not to nurture growth and love, it's to command and control through law and order. And I think it's especially heinous when we think about places that have a lot of people whose brains aren't fully formed, and where we have a school to prison pipeline issue, where we have racial inequities and income inequities. But at the same time, everyone on the school board in Pontiac doesn't have a better choice because there's not, I guess for whatever reason, and this isn't just Pontiac, this is all the schools that are asked for, Notre Dame Prep too, where like people are just scared and they don't know a better answer. And we have not helped give them one. but this is the best we could do right now, but we know it's not the best answer. So that's all.
I will make a comment also. So growing up in the city of Pontiac and always having officers in our school, we had them when I was there, even when I was in middle school. And I would just say, coming from a area that has had troubling things happen in a school, I felt safer with just the presence of them being there. And I can say, at least for my experience when I was there and what I have seen happen with the officers who signed up to help in that space, they're actually acting as, yes, the protectors, but also the therapists or the middleman, the mentor to kind of help in the households with the kids. And yes, it is a fear if you get an officer who just wants to push laws and be the more of the edge of prison to pipeline type focus. So I do commend our sheriffs to look for or try to find officers who really wanna work with kids, wanna work in that space, and not be that creator of sending these kids up the prison pipeline. So in my past experience, because I was a student in it from middle school to high school, that is just a perception I've had. And I'm only, because me and you talk about this all the time, and I totally understand what you're coming from and what your fear is, but I'm telling you as a colleague also, just listen to the little girl who was in it. And at least where I was coming from, and I just think that we've in the past had the good officers who work in that space of what you're hoping that if we're gonna put them in there, is more so those officers and not the other ones who just wanna put us in prison. So I thank you for your comment, but I just wanted to let you know from your friend also, and my experience just as a student in that. And that's why I do fight for it, for the kids, because kids should feel safe coming to school. And that's another problem for us, because when they don't feel safe, then we have had the attendance issue, and actually that's back. So that's what we're trying to clean up in our schools. And I think the 2 officers that we do have assigned there right now, they are doing a phenomenal job even with our parenting, to teach and help our parents to be better parents and work as a unit to improve the entire household. So that's what their focus has been. I mean, they even wrote up a proposal to be more structured that way. So at least I can say that's what's happening in the Pontiac schools with our wonderful 2 sheriffs we have there. Okay, thank you. Nelson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Similar to Commissioner Cavell, but first I respect and completely value, and you and I have had some conversations about the school resource officers as well, and I'm willing to support this largely upon our conversations and leaders in Pontiac in regards to an SRO. SRO, right? I always get it mixed up. I say SOR or SRO. But I do want to capitalize on some of the things that Commissioner Cavell said. I do as well believe that there are more beneficial ways and more valuable ways to use money and resources and education outside of bringing police officers into schools. In schools, as a special education teacher for over 15 years, we need smaller class sizes. We need increased resources of mental health supports and counselors, psychologists. It's a much bigger, I don't want to say problem, but it's a much bigger picture than I think a lot of times, not just this body, but a lot of other bodies miss out on. And I said it before, and I'm gonna say it again, that throwing more police officers into schools is an easy way out of a very difficult but necessary conversation when it takes a look at school safety, students, teachers. But in light of, as I said at the beginning of this, I understand, I don't agree, but in the conversations that I've had with members within the Pontiac community, local leadership, school board, it is something that is found valuable and necessary in their community. And for that, I'm willing to support but I don't agree.
Yeah, and I'm gonna also say this too, outside of us continuing to form stronger parent groups and also to, in the past when I was in school, and I think they still have them there too, they have like security officers as well. And those security officers actually usually they try to get ones that are in our community. So it's almost like you got real life community members to help in this whole formation of working in that space. But I totally do, I so agree with both my colleagues, and I really more so agree with you too, as far as now that post-COVID, this mental health has took a run, that is other elements that we need to build on top of the SRO, security teams, community efforts, parent groups, PTA, whatever, to help in this in totality space, because that school environment has just changed dramatically too, of what the needs are now. You know what I mean, for us to move forward, and we don't have to then eventually probably convert to so many officers in the school. But just so y'all know too, we only used to have one for the whole district. Things have changed, and I've just been I've seen it, so I understand why we got the two over there. But the goal is that we won't have two there for a long time. We're trying to rectify that now, so that go back to one. So I just wanted to share that with my colleagues as well. So yes, Child.
Just wanted to chime in a little bit and say, everybody, both things can be true at the same time, right? Whereas counselors, say police officers, absolutely agree. Lastly, just want to mention also that we don't solicit, so they contact us, we don't call them, say, hey, you want a contract?
Thank you for that.
Thank you for that clarity. All right, any other questions, concerns? Hearing none, please prompt the vote. And thanks to both my colleagues.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, thank you. Now we will move to the last public comment. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address the committee? Seeing none, I will close public comment, other business and adjournment. Is there any other business to come before the committee? Yes, ma'am.
So as many of you know, there was a bombing of Israel on Saturday, and last night, there was a solidarity event in Southfield. And Sheriff Bouchard personally called me to be sure I felt comfortable. I really appreciated that. And there was a strong Oakland County Police presence, as well as one of my favorites, Chief Barron from Southfield. They did just an unbelievable job, and I had to walk to my car by myself, and they came with me. It was a very emotional night. It's a very emotional time. And I just wanted you to pass on to Bouchard. Calling me personally really meant a lot to me.
Thank you for sharing that, and I'm so sorry. I have been lost in the sauce. I have not heard anything about that, and I'm so sorry. Cause you know I would have reached out, and I so wanna publicly say sorry as a friend, cause you know we're very close. I ain't heard nothing. I'm so upset.
So interesting. It's been all over every place, and yet it doesn't get to everyone. But
I haven't been on social media either the last couple of days, but still, I wanna apologize first, cause I think that is something very important that I should.
Thank you.
Me too.
Thank you for that information. Is there anything else from the commissioners? Okay, no, I declare this meeting adjourned at 12 o'clock.
Marsha, where was it? Where was it?
This is.
It was at Adasha.
I can keep it like that. Okay, I'm keeping both.